Really?
I think it's always showed itself in different ways. Like, I was way more attention seeking when I was younger. I remember, like, I was very, like, class clowny, like, want everyone to think I was funny. I think I'm less like that now. Well, I'm still attention seeking in a way, but, like, yeah, I think I've always been like that.
I wouldn't say you're attention seeking. Would you?
It doesn't have to be the bad side of attention seeking, but I do, like, put myself on stage, like, and, like, broadcast myself on the internet and, like, I mean, that's, like, very, like, that's, you know that.
Yeah.
And, like, and you do that, and we know lots of people that do that, so it seems normal, but it's not really, is it?
True, although having been on this tour recently, I have realised how much I just don't like it.
Like what? Being
like
on stage?
Being on stage. And in fact, even I just find it all so uncomfortable now. I think there was a period of life, obviously, when I got into music. And I guess everyone kind of, there's a thought when you first start making music, like, yeah, I love music, I love songwriting, but it would also be really cool to be famous and be known and all that bollocks. But now, oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. I really couldn't enjoy it because even afterwards meeting people, it's so cool to meet the people that listen to your music and have those connections. But because you are this person that they've come to see, there's automatically this like power shift that just feels horrible and uncomfortable. And I wish I didn't feel like that, but I think maybe over time I've realised, my God, I do not want that attention anymore. But I very much did, and I don't know where that changed.
I think the fact that you're just even aware of that is good and is enough. Because what side of it makes you most uncomfortable? Because there's a difference between being on stage in the moment, performing in front of people, mic in front of your face, here's my songs, here's my message, whatever, and then the like meet and greet, like idolizing. To me, that's like two separate things. I feel far more comfortable with like performing than I do with the like social aspect of being someone that someone's paid to see.
Yeah. I think I agree with you there. I definitely feel more comfortable on stage, but only like slightly more. I think probably that has a lot to do with weight, I think, and like just appearance wise, because that just can't be avoided in this kind of industry, can it? Or the least you thinking about it. But yeah, it's just drastically changed over maybe the last year or two. Even being on stage now doesn't feel that great anymore, and that's a scary thing to say because obviously.
No, but I think it's important to like admit it as well, because there's this almost I think it's a bit of a myth almost that once you break through the nerves, once you've like performed enough, that it's comfortable, that it's fun from that point, like once you get through, and I think that point can take years to get to anyway, but actually I found that like my enjoyment of being on stage like always directly correlates to like my self-esteem or like how well something in some other irrelevant aspect of my life is doing. Like I feel more or less comfortable in that environment.
Wow.
It's not that once you get past the nerves and once you get past the stage fright and that it's just fun from that point. Like I've found like I've enjoyed it and not enjoyed it as much at completely different points in my life.
Wow.
Like the way you have now. But you've always been quite nervous.
Yes.
Well, like, maybe not always, but like I remember seeing you first in Dublin when I was like bought a ticket to come see you.
How weird is that?
I love it. And we have to talk about that at some point, like our weird interwoven past. But it was like Ireland does this really annoying thing that they still do, the promotion companies, where you can't have a 14 plus or an all ages evening show. You have to have
I remember that.
An 18, all the evening shows have to, or any venue with a bar, which is every venue, you have to do an 18 plus evening gig, or like a weird, if you want to have an all ages show, it has to be like a weird Saturday matinee.
I remember doing that.
2 p.m. doors thing. And I remember you being, that is a nerve-wracking situation anyway, like 2 p.m. doors is so weird, and it was a solo tour. I think you were on your own. Was Tom playing with you or someone? I think you were completely on your own.
Oh God, yeah.
But I remember you being like, just seeing you before, I wouldn't have known it on stage, but I remember you were just like
nerves. I think as well that's why I found this tour not as enjoyable, is because this whole.
Where did you play?
We played in Brighton, Bristol, London, and Birmingham. But because I've spent the last kind of half a year because it's been such a crazy time in life anyway, I've had to really, I guess, like learn what actually makes me happy now. And I realized that I'm quite an introvert, and I like being at home and like reading and meditating, and I don't know, I've shifted so much as a human being. And so now, like being on the road and feeling that like anxiety all the time, I was like, this doesn't feel good. And beforehand, the nerves was part and parcel of all this, like the passion and stuff that I wanted to do. But now I'm sitting there nervous, and I'm drinking alcohol because I'm nervous, and I'm like, this isn't good for me anymore. And don't get me wrong, there are bits that are so enjoyable, but on the whole, when I'm just focusing on me and my brain and like my body and how it's feeling, I'm like, shit, it's scary how much I was aware of how anxious I was. And also at that level of touring, like it's the slog level. Like you don't have money for the crew, and there's so much gear, and you're lifting it up and down stairs, and it's like it's tiring as well as feeling all the other stuff. And I think I was kind of plucked out of my little comfort zone at home where I could be myself and focus on myself and what made me happy, to then being in that environment again. I was like, oh, holy shit, this is different now.
That's good to know. I think that's just you becoming more comfortable with yourself and knowing yourself more. And I think, I don't know if you felt this way, but like when I speak to someone who maybe isn't in a music or any creative industry, I think there's a pressure sometimes when you're like living the dream to like a forced kind of gratefulness all the time, you know, like you're kind of like, oh, touring is really difficult, but you know, so glad to be doing it. You're like, and there's always this like, don't want to appear like I'm not like really grateful for all the luck that I've had. And actually, I don't know, being a musician in particular is like, so there's so many different pockets of skills, so many different experiences, and you can enjoy one without enjoying the other. You can enjoy writing and recording without enjoying gigging, and you can be good at one and not the other. And actually that's fine. It just so happens that we exist at a time where you're expected to do it all. So and true. Be your own PR person, and look at me, here I am on a podcast with gay. You know, it's like, that's all just like different skills. But I think it's really cool and refreshing to hear someone be like, I don't enjoy that aspect of it, because it doesn't make you any less good at the other bits. Like, you know who Enya is? Yeah. Enya never gigged. She existed at a time where you could just be a recording artist. Wow. That's just not a thing anymore. Like, we have to gig. It's just how it goes. It's expected. But like, if we exist at a different time of music, you would do gigs only if you wanted to. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, I think it's good to recognize what you don't like. Are there bits that you don't like, that you kind of struggle with in the industry, in your career? Or do you just love it all? I just love all of it. I fucking love it all. How annoying would that be? I really like gigging now, but I feel like it took me so long to get there. Like, literally, maybe only in the last year have I actually really enjoyed it. Why like, I genuinely do feel I do, but I don't think it's been that way. I just don't think I was proud of, like, my live show. Like, I felt I was, like, mugging people off for a long time. Like, and it felt like they were buying a ticket to take a chance on something that I wasn't that certain about yet, because I just wasn't happy with, like, my, like, level of performance, or, like, I still had to figure the band thing out, or, like, there was still so many songs I had to write to make the set list feel complete, or, like, there always seemed to be something missing. And so, for me, I up until, like, maybe the last, like, I played a couple headline shows last May, after, like, a long time of not. And from that point, I think I felt comfortable with, like, the idea of people paying to see me. But up to that point, I don't think I was. And, I mean, you're doing so well now, objectively. Like, that's how cool it is to be your friend, is that sounds so weird, but to have been there with you from our kind of, like, tiny little YouTube days and the Dublin matinee and stuff, it's very, very cool to see how fucking far you've come. And even just, like, your Spotify and, like, the artwork and shit, and the music speaks for itself, but it's just so good, and I feel like you've really found your fucking style now. Oh, thanks. And it's just fucking cool to watch. How sick. Yeah, I feel, like, comfortable with it now, but, like, you know, in the interest of being honest, which is the whole point of this thing, like, I did push through, like, so many years where I didn't feel that good about it, And in the same way, there's like not just a simple like uphill thing. Like I do feel comfortable with it now. I'm like proud of the music, proud of the show, but like I'm very open to the fact that like that will meander again, and I'll go into some kind of like pits of not being able to write something for it. You know, it's like I'm grateful for where I'm at, only because I've definitely had years and years of not feeling comfortable with it, and lots of near misses, and lots of maybe let's quit, and lots of that.
Yeah. There is a hell of a lot of that. Do you struggle with comparison too?
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I mean, you're surrounded by people that do it all the time.
100%, yeah. And it's funny because people always say it's very easy to be like, even if I try not to compare myself to people, other people will. Like, it's not about yourself. It's not about me going, oh, I live with Lauren, I better not compare myself to Lauren. Oh, I better not compare myself to Kate, better not compare myself to Dodie. Even if I can like be comfortable in that in myself, and I think I've made like some progress in not like trying not to do it, but other people will always do that. Like,
yeah, so that's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it?
Yeah, so even if you get to a point where you're not like directly comparing yourself, like,
you know it's happening.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's just how everything works. That's how YouTube will link us together in some algorithm, and like Spotify will all be in like fans also like. So like, there's lots of like, I think even if you make really good like personal progress with it, there's that's still true, like you can't get away from it.